Before you click away, I just want to tell you something. You're already enough. Not because you hit a certain goal, not because you said all the right things today, not because you managed to keep it all together. Hey guys, today we're going to go over the truth about feeling like you're not good enough. There was a time when I didn't just feel not good enough. I believed it was carved into who I was. Like it was written in some stone somewhere, in some book I couldn't edit. It was the little things. Someone would crack a joke, and I'd wonder if I was the punchline. I'd replay conversations in my head for hours, nitpicking every word I said, and the worst part, I thought it was normal. I thought everybody walked around with this quiet ache of almost but not quite. It's funny how sneaky the feeling can be. It doesn't announce itself with sirens. It's more like background noise, constant, draining, and so familiar you don't notice how heavy it is until you finally set it down. When I was around 10 years old, I got this little cassette recorder for my birthday. I was obsessed. I recorded myself pretending to be a radio host, singing made up songs, telling stories, but somewhere along the line, I started recording my real conversations. It wasn't even sneaky. I plopped the recorder in the middle of the room during family dinners or after school hangouts. And that's when it hit me. The way people spoke to me sometimes was sharp and dismissive, quick to point out what I didn't do right. Things I brushed off in the moment sounded different on tape, colder, harder. And hearing it back, it planted a seed. Maybe I wasn't good enough, funny, or interesting as I thought. The tape recorder eventually broke, but the messages stayed. Without realizing it, I started playing them back in my head on repeat. Fast forward a few years, I'm sitting in my beat up old car outside a coffee shop after a rough day. The kind of day where you mess something up at work, spill coffee on yourself, and have a stranger look at you like you're walking disaster. And in that moment, some tiny, stubborn voice inside me, a voice that had been quiet for too long, said, "Wait a second. Maybe it's not that you're a disaster. Maybe today was just rough." That voice didn't sound anything like the usual one. It wasn't blaming me. It wasn't telling me to just be better. It was tired of the endless game of chasing approval. That night, I wrote a note to myself on a napkin. It said, "You don't have to earn being enough. You already are." I didn't believe it entirely at first, not even close. But I kept the napkin. I didn't magically wake up the next morning glowing with confidence. It was messy, like trying to untangle a necklace that's been balled up in a drawer for years. But looking back, there were some real turning points. The first was stopping the mindless comparisons. You ever look at people you barely know and decided they're somehow better at life than you? I used to do that constantly, on social media, at the grocery store, everywhere. One night, a friend told me, "You're comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel." I know it's a little cheesy, but it landed. Now, when that old habit creeps in, I catch it quicker. Instead of spiraling into, "Why can't I be like them?" I shift it to, "What do I admire about them?" Admiration feels lighter than jealousy. It opens doors instead of locking them. 2. Letting myself be a work in progress. Perfectionism was killing me, quietly but surely. I used to think if I wasn't amazing right out of the gate, I shouldn't even bother trying. That attitude kept me frozen for years. Things softened when I started seeing mistakes as normal instead of proof that I was a failure. I gave myself permission to be bad at things before getting better. I took messy swings at new hobbies, friendships, and ideas. Some worked out and a lot didn't. Either way, I was in it instead of sitting on the sidelines and judging myself. And honestly, being good enough became a lot less important when I realized how much fun it was to live. Something else I had to untangle was this weird invisible contract I thought I had signed with the world. It went something like this. If I'm nice enough, hardworking enough, accommodating enough, everyone will like me, and no one will ever leave. Spoiler, that's not how people work. That's not how life works. Breaking that imaginary contract was hard. It meant accepting that not everyone would like me, that I wouldn't always get the outcome I wanted, no matter how much effort I put in. But the freedom on the other side of that is unreal. I stopped performing. Stopped treating my worth like a never-ending group project that needed everyone's approval to pass. Now there's one day that I realized that I was done apologizing for existing. There's this park in my town with a big hill. Kids run up and down it all day, falling over, laughing, chasing each other. No one tells them, "Hey, you're doing it wrong." They're allowed to be loud, clumsy, and alive. One afternoon I was sitting there, watching them, and it hit me like a punch to the chest. I was once that kid, before all the criticism and doubt piled up. Before I thought I had to shrink myself down to be acceptable. And if that little kid deserved to run up the hill, full of life, not worrying about how they looked or who was judging, then so did grown-up me. Sitting on a bench like a weirdo, I cried in public that day, and I didn't care who saw. Being human means messing up sometimes. You don't owe the world a polished, perfect version of yourself. Your worth isn't something you have to hustle for. It's okay to disappoint people if staying true to yourself requires it. Rest is not laziness. You're allowed to take up space, even if you're not the best at anything that day. Joy is worth chasing, even if no one else claps for you. And one final little story. I have a tiny garden now. It's mostly a mess. Half the time the weeds grow faster than the flowers. Some plants die for no reason, and some bloom even when I forget to water them for a week. But I still love it. Nobody looks at a wild, messy garden and says, "This is garbage," because it's not a perfectly manicured landscape. They say, "Wow, it's alive." That's how I see myself now. Not perfect, not polished, just alive. Growing, wilting, blooming, stumbling, standing back up. And that's more than enough. Before you click away, I just want to tell you something. You're already enough. Not because you hit a certain goal, not because you said all the right things today, not because you managed to keep it all together. You're enough simply because you're here. You're breathing, you're trying, you're growing, even on the messy days when it feels invisible. You don't need to earn it, you don't need to prove it. You already carry everything you need inside of you. So please, give yourself some credit for all the mountains you've climbed that no one ever saw. You're not falling behind, you're not broken, you're human, and you're doing better than you think. Stay positive, friends.